Why we will never be an independent nation. How we vote is not how we party. And Trinidad and Tobago, tonight here's looking at you. Because tonight, we're talking fact. Now we stop talking bullshit. I read all your posts all day today, all over Facebook. I read the two sides of the coin. I watch people go out this morning in the finery, in the readery, to celebrate with Rowley down in town. And you march. You must march. Because we're living in a country that I explained to somebody today. Elections in this country is two sides fighting to get all of the honeypot just for their people. The others suck salt. And you can't be independent like that. That's not a real country. That's a bullshitocracy, a contractocracy, a kleptocracy. Anything but a democracy. This is not a real country. And anybody who tells you so is a bullshit artist, is stunt artist, and a liar. And we don't come to this world for lies. That is for TTT. Go and see Trinidad top Chinaman's Churchill and his new invention, Propaganda News Network. Go and see what they just took your money to do. To use public funds for political propaganda is misbehavior in public office, and Rowley and Stuart Young should be jailed. But that won't happen in Trinidad and Tobago because the people to jail them are appointed by them in this bullshitocracy that we live in. And it's you to blame. Don't think you're off the hook. Don't think for 1 second you're off the hook. Because it's you to blame. It's you that allow it to happen. We allow this to continue. We allow the bullshitocracy to continue. I watch a guy tonight on my wall. One black man called a next black man a house Negro. Because one black man said he is standing for the PEP, PNM bullshit done. And the next black man, a fellow by the name of Hugh Bridgman, called him a house Negro. And I want to ask him, bro, what did you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Did you think for a minute that Trinidad belongs to one race? Because I would like to disabuse you of the notion, and I would like to free you of the misconception. Trinidad belongs to everybody, including, unfortunately, jackasses like you. And jackasses like you that have a vote keep making a mess of this country. But the people up on top figure you all out, you know. You see that house Negro talk that you pelt out there so easy? They figure you out. And they learn how to enslave you with your own mind. You see, African people show the world the power of their economic might a year or two ago. They show the world that if focused, black money have the power to break records. When they made that movie, Black Panther, it was never a human rights movie. It's not a civil rights movie. It's not a black rights movie. It's just a black man as a superhero. But they made it a human rights. They made it civil rights. They made it black rights. That was Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and everybody all wrapped up in one. Mandela was in that suit. And black people lapped it up. They lapped it up to the point where Black Panther, that movie, is the largest grossing movie of all times. They don't expect another movie to come, all the Star Wars and all the Indiana Jones and all the Harry Potters added up. They do what Black Panther do. They had people who went and see Black Panther 4 and 5 times just to spend their money on a black movie. But the problem is, when the money went through that little piece of window glass day, it wasn't going into black hands. It was going into white hands. Because black people don't own the cinema. Black people don't own the movie studio. Black people don't own Marvel. Black people don't own the franchise. All black people owned was that seat for 2 hours and a bag of popcorn. And yet, it motivated them enough to make that movie, Black Panther, the largest grossing movie of all time. And they so enjoyed that money that 007 is about to be black. But he can't just be black. They need you to think that you have to fight for a black 007. So there's a lot of bullshit talk going on out there. Should Idris Elba be 007? He looks the part, he sounds the part, he walks the part. He's as white as a black man could be. So Idris should be 007. And all of the black community lapping that up too. So the moment it gets announced and that poster dropped, Idris Elba is 007 set off. And white people will laugh all the way to the bank. Because at no point has it dawned on the black community worldwide that they have heroes and they have enough money between them to build a movie studio, write a movie franchise, sell it to themselves, enjoy it, and make their own self rich. But this is what you call shackled minds. When Robert Nesta Marley, who they had to kill, Bob was opening black eyes and freeing black minds. They had to kill Bob. They had to kill Bob, injecting gangrene in his toe. Bob had to dead. Bob was a liberator of consciousness. Believe it or not. And when Robert Nesta Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, none but ourselves can free our minds. A long time ago, Philip Edward Alexander had to decide, am I going to fit in or stand out? Because it was obvious to me that I was fast on the uptake, very logical, a critical thinker. I saw past bullshit. At a very young age, I would confuse my elders by pointing out glaring bullshit that they didn't see. And I realized it was like a tiny little superpower, kept it to myself. And I read everything that I could read. I read and I read and I read and I read and I read. I used to be reading 2 and 3 books at a time. I used to be in a book, waiting, excited, looking forward to the next book I'm going to read. Reading. I couldn't get enough. I played games. I read Gone with the Wind, Winds of War, and War and Peace in that order. Those 3 books have nothing to do with themselves. It sounded like a mix. Loved to read. And I realized that the more I read, the more I learned. And the more I learned, the greater my superpower to see past bullshit became. But then, I found myself outside of the rabble. Because they have a problem with, you all use this word, awoke. They have a problem with being awoke, you know. They have a scene in The Matrix, that first movie, The Matrix. Them Wachowski brothers wrote a book there, a story there, partner. If you've never seen The Matrix, watch The Matrix until you get past the action scenes and understand what they're telling you. And there's a scene in The Matrix where this guy, I can't remember his name, asks the Sentinel because his mind is free. He sees past the bullshit and he can't handle it. Can't handle it. And he asks them, put me back. Put me back. Put me back inside. I don't want to know. The burden of truth is heavy to me. Watch the numbers on this video, 199. It should be 5,000. But if I was here, let me give you something. Let me show you what we can get 5,000 for. Let me show you. Because this video should have 5,000 people viewing, 10,000 people viewing. This is rotted information. This is mind-opening, people-freeing, liberating, emancipating, empowering, and educating information. But that don't get that. I told Sarah Kalipasad tonight and Peter Hadid, one after the other. Two of them wrote two beautiful pieces. I'm going to read both pieces to you and my response to them for you to see. Let me get 5,000 views. Where is it? Take it down that road.
Yeah, we got elephant live in this.
Take it down that road.
Go.
I've seen love dance before, but I've never seen a dance like this. I've seen love dance before.
Bring that.
Top the list. Alright, real bad man, no we bring
that.
We take dancing to a higher rank. We spend down and we spend from. Shut up and move that and to take a hand grab. Yeah.
Because that's what they want black people to think life is.
In the river, on the bank. People to shoot because you put them no crap. What you say in the river?
And they get them that this morning. Rowley went to get them. Pon the river. Dance now.
Like a baller, we go down the flank. You cheap pretty and just in your tongue. But them you talk, you know where people are good. Give them a run, John. Give them a run. Give them a run, we and they gonna have fun.
Because that sells. That bullshit sells. It's easy for Stuart Young and TTT to come and tell black people you're dumb and you're stupid and you're entitled to nothing but
give them a run, give them a run, give them a run, we don't be gonna have fun.
And
dance before, yeah, but I've never seen a dance like this. I've seen love dance before, yeah, but I don't wanna come top the list. Alright, lava lava, say I get old and can't bother. Yeah. When the music hit him in trunk with that grabber, but they dance from the river to the bank, me brother. Nobody dance and them all in together. Well, everybody ball out, say what a dream team. John Bogle keeper and the dancer queen.
All remember the Bogle? Anyway, come back on the point. That is what gets 5,000 views. Broke out and pasa. Give them that bullshit. Give them freaking Synergy TV. Peter C. Lewis and Synergy TV or Brian Haynes. Give them bullshit. Tell black people that they are thugs. The girls are hoes. Broke out. Go in the dance and rest it on him. That is the bullshit. We've told our people. We've allowed our people, and you know what happens? What pisses me off is that intelligent, open-minded people, rather than get upset and outraged, Benjamin Franklin said, until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are, nothing will change. Last week I put Elizabeth Nute on a little bit of a blast. Elizabeth Ann Nute, and she called me. Because she had write on Facebook and she was vexed. She said she vexed with this fracking government and this fracking lack of water in Glencoe. And I said, the people vex but not vexed enough to learn how to cuss yet. Still, only Philip Alexander cussing. And I just want to tell you how I talk. Little low class. I'm coming on the bottom end of the top. I could talk at the top. I could talk with the kings and the queens. But that's for Fitzgerald Hines. A stunting anyway. The same Elizabeth Ann Luthier today, who didn't know how to cuss last week, still know water, don't give a shit. Lee Hunt and Rowley, don't give a shit. Happy independence, my ass. Next week, if she ain't had no water, fracking giving way. And we need all of our people. We need all of our people to stop the bullshit now. Stop it. Stop it. You are seeing it, and I know you know there are no stupid people in Trinidad and Tobago. Rowley finished Taruba in 1 month and took 3 years to build a 2x4 fish market in Caranage. But it's Caranage that feeds Sharon Rowley Charon. It's Caranage put food in Rowley family belly for 31 years. But them stupid, and then could take 3 years to get a fish market in the shadow of the bauxite plant. Bauxite this cause chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder. That you, all the fish sellers, going to end up with congestive heart and lung failure in the last days of their lives. Courtesy, the PNM, Keith Rowley. And I said yesterday, bring the whole Petrotrin story down to fact. The PNM government and the UNC too, but the UNC is not in power now. So you see there's one from column A and one from column B bullshit. I talk every time I talk. I ain't doing that again. All you know, Philip Edward Alexander is no friend to either of those political parties. So when Kamla and Rudal get in jam, Kamla and Rudal get in jam. I don't pull a PNM along to say as an equal opportunity offender. You all know, army of one, despise both. The PNM stole $12 billion from this country's treasury through Petrotrin. Not only 12 billion, not only 12 billion. Because when people tell me the PNM have a machinery, it have a machinery, boy. Them captain and them loyal. You know they're loyal to? They're loyal to the fake positions they get, like Ansel Roger's job in Petrotrin that he draws a big salary for and does shit all to do. They get loyal because you know somebody in the PNM who could get you a post where you could get up at the crack of noon, go to work for 1, leave at 2, and take a lunch hour. And you get to interview all the young girls that come to get a work in the office, or if it's a old hag, all the young boys. And that's the PNM legacy. Advantage the people, abuse the people, undress the people, piss on the back and tell them rain falling. That is the legacy of the PNM. A stunting jackass by the name of Alvin Narain spent years of his life until he dropped down dead from a heart attack and had to spend the last days in a PNM hospital. Had to try to convince me that PNM don't have squalid communities. That all them people that you see living in them depressed hotspots is other people from other islands. Hear me? La Joqueta, Talparo, Gonzales, Belmont, Enterprise, Embarcadero, Morvan, Beetham, Lavantil, Silot, East Port of Spain, River Estate, Patna, Bagatelle, Covine, Mason, Rich Plain, La Puerta, Sanganga, Abipujad, Big Yard, Scorpion, Cocorite, Caranage, Waterhole, Harding Place, Never Dirty, all of those, Beverly Hills, all of those places that I just named, Factory Road in Diego Martin, Diamond Vale. Diamond Vale is a PNM version of a middle class community. But the moment you cross the Crystal Stream traffic light into that PNM community, you know the difference. You see it. You see that you reach in PNM land. The roads, the pavements, the rivers, even the hills does look sad. Everything broken. And it is not those people to blame, but a quoting the Matrix again. Morpheus told Neo, the people are not your enemy. But they are so tied and dependent on that system, they will fight to defend it. And that is what makes them your enemy. That is called a conundrum. Google it. But the conundrum of Trinidad and Tobago is, by continuously voting for the PNM, black people in Trinidad and Tobago have been reduced to shells of themselves, to zombies. Look at them, to drones, to PNM mantra parroting drones. While fellas, black fellas like Stuart Young, black guys like Franklin Cann and Colin Bird, these black people like Faris and Rawi, you get the point? You get the point yet? No? You don't understand yet? Because you see, somebody said today it's easy to blame the Petrotrin workers. It's easy to blame them. But Petrotrin workers and all of their salaries for the next 1,000 years couldn't match up to the $12 billion that the PNM stole. And you need to understand that. You need to understand clear as a bell. I see Stefan Rees and God Christopher come out the shell, and I take credit for that. I watch Garvin Nicholas. Let me read Garvin Nicholas' post here, because this was the Trinidad and Tobago High Commissioner to England. This was a UNC Attorney General. This is what Wayne Sturge refers to as a Bamsi fly, because Stuart Young is a PNM Bamsi fly. But Garvin Nicholas didn't get the position of Attorney General when Ram Logan was fired because Garvin was a top-notch jurist. Garvin got the position because he could be relied on to toe party line. But read the same Garvin Nicholas yesterday posted, and he is now a political and social activist. The only person who ever had that as their title in the history of Trinidad and Tobago has been Philip Edward Alexander. Another thing that I have added to the narrative, and I've taken credit for my shit. This is what newly crowned social and political activist Garvin Nicholas said. I find it so hypocritical when the wealthy describe the poor as gimme. Many of TNT's billionaire class got wealthy from billion-dollar government contracts, import restrictions that created monopolies, foreign exchange preferential treatment, and insider trading. That is applauded as good business acumen and hard work. But when a struggling contractor gets a box drain contract, a struggling single parent gets help to buy groceries or books to educate their children, or senior citizens get an increase in pension for working all their life, the billionaire class start talking about gimme, shameful. I feel like Garvin Nicholas is my child. Grow up and talking. And I'm feeling good. I feel good changing the narrative, changing the way people look at the world. Garvin can't suck that back in. The billionaires watching him. And the only thing he didn't talk about was the Chamber of Commerce, but that had to come. Because that's where the billionaire class clink glasses. That's where they go to conspire. That's the place. The Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce. But if a former Attorney General and a former High Commissioner to London town could be made to see the light, then I have to continue this work. Whether or not the PEP ever wins government, we are winning minds. And that is the important mission. Positive ripples in a pond. Last year, today, I posted a picture of a torn Trinidad flag. And today, I had to share it again. Independence morning. This I wrote last year. Independence morning, and all I can think of is how to send an SOS to the world. The entire planet's economy is booming, yet Trinidad and Tobago is suffering a recession. How is that possible? In a nation where nothing works. No matter who you are this morning or where your ancestors originated, look around at our land. Look at its collapsing infrastructure, its lack of systems. Look at its people, punch drunk and weary. Look at its decaying business sector. Look at its homes, outfitted and equipped to survive a siege. Our water transmission 55 years later still treats as magic the concept of collecting, holding, and distributing water. A nation that could not qualify as a borough or a county in a real country, yet we spend 10 times more than most do on our water distribution. Our health sector is a cruel joke. Our education system is a punchline. We grow nothing to feed our people. Our public sector is a state-sponsored abuse. Our administration of justice is tottering. The last vestiges of trust in an independent police serving being misused to serve political ends. A simple thing as moving between the two islands that make up our nation, we cannot do without corruption, mismanagement, and without frustrating and abusing our people. We are a narco state, failed nation, and banana republic all rolled into one. What an absolute and tragic joke. Nothing works in Trinidad and Tobago. 55 years of independence and nothing to show for it. This image, this torn and forlorn national flag, perfectly encapsulates the state of our democratic republic this morning. There is no happy independence for us today. We should all be ashamed. That was my article last year. And I can go back every year. I read Ali G today and all the other people who are posting similar sentiments today. And I am happy that we are waking them up. I am sorry that it had to happen when the shit has gotten to the point where the fan can't take no more. So that people in trouble. Gloria Dinoon asked me to watch the language. I don't know who you're talking to, if it's to me. But Lovey, if you can't handle how I speak, they have a way out of the video. You're not trapped. Listen, Trinidad and Tobago, this is a reality. And the word shit is actually an acronym for store high in transit. And it originated in the Caribbean, where ships used to come here to buy pitch, to mix with manure, and stick it in between the wood planks to keep the ships from taking on water. The problem is they used to buy that manure by the crocus bag and store it in the hold of the ship. When water seeped in, it used to wet those bags and release methane gas. And the sailors going down into the hole with a candle would cause a fire and blow up the ship. When they found out that it is the manure that they need to stuff between the planks with pitch that kept the ships afloat, that they had to prevent it from getting wet, they used to write in red across the bag, store high in transit, S-H-I-T. It's like how the word Jeep, J-W-P, came from the GP that was a general purpose vehicle in World War II. This is how words start and how they begin and where they come from. But anybody cussing on the thread, please don't. Sorry about that, Gloria. And Dave Lux is there. And if it is somebody that needs to be removed from the thread, Dave Lux will point it out to me. Because I know I ain't cussing yet. And if shit was the problem, well, I would have just shut down because... Yeah, go watch the fireworks. Kristen Keel Stevens said, go watch the fireworks. Yes, 56 years of ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh. That's your government working for you. Ah! 56 years have passed. How you feel? I know I'm making a mockery of the video. I'm doing it for spite. Because we need. Yes, I just academically gave the origins of the word shallon. Sometimes you need to. 56 years later, 56 years later, all we get from government is ooh, ah. They're not out there in the grass getting bite by mosquito going ooh and ah. They're in some office building, some fancy place that my money and your money pay for, drinking the best champagnes, whatever left of the last president, personal branded champagne, they're drinking that at your expense tonight. They are a big shot tonight because of you. I want you to hear what Steve Smith wrote. I do not at all trust Dr. Keith Rowley or the restricted hand-picked few within his present cabinet clique to whom he has given the responsibility of making key financial decisions for this oppressed nation. If all you read was that line, you thought Philip Alexander wrote that. And I am happy that the people are waking up and standing up. We don't have enough for work yet. We only have 189 people viewing what should be 5,000. But from now on, we will open with, give them a run, hey, yeah, and call them in. The PNM is a self-proclaimed national movement of and for the people. They have proven themselves to be anything but that. Dr. Rowley has, what is he a doctor of? If his doctorate is really geology, and he was the cabinet minister responsible for Las Alturas, Taruba, and Labidco, not only should they come and take back that doctorate from Rowley, they should fire the son of a bitch who gave him the doctorate in the first place. Because Las Alturas cost this country millions of dollars to put up and millions of dollars to put down, to take down when we realize Keith Rowley built it on shifting sand, like he did with Taruba, like he did with Labidco, like he is doing with his entire prime ministerial career. But we're coming back to that. The PNM is a self-proclaimed national movement now. Dr. Rowley has fully embraced a selfish, neoconservative, crony capitalist ethic and is today fully owned and controlled by the business sector, both foreign and domestic again. I am telling you, this is a fella by the name of Steve Smith. I did not write this, but I am happy that Steve Smith is writing now. His history as a minister of government is one that is unflattering and rife with dubiety. He stands accused of showing complete indifference to the plight of the ordinary people he has been elected to represent. Apart from the callous lack of concern he has shown for those who have caused him to be elected as a member of the country's parliament, he has demonstrated hard-hearted contempt towards those very people and to the nation at large. Serious concerns have been raised in the past by the very party to which he belongs concerning his handling of taxpayers' money, and questions have remained unanswered concerning his alleged misuse of public property intended for hospital construction in Tobago, which was allegedly redirected to use in his private holdings at Landgate, Tobago. Questions have been raised concerning some $10 billion allegedly unaccounted for during his tenure as housing minister between 2003 and 2007. Most recently, he took upon himself as prime minister in an action that any reasonable person would view as uncalled for, an initiative to intervene into the affairs of the inter-island ferry service between our twin islands. If you could share the video on your profile now to get past the blocks, because people not getting any notifications and they would like to know that we're here. This fiasco escalated into a debacle that has caused irreparable harm to the Tobago economy. He has entered into an as yet undisclosed financial arrangement with the Sandals Group that has further economic ramifications for scarce taxpayers' dollars, involving, as it does, expensive alterations to the Tobago airport and negative ramifications for social and economic disruption in Tobago. He has also been the object of public concern resulting from a cabinet arrangement with Australian shipbuilder to furnish patrol and fast ferry vessels. His actions have triggered questions concerning alleged financial impropriety. His last irrational decision is a straw that breaks the camel's back, ensuring that he has within his full control a national organ of disinformation, TTT, another unnecessary drain on the nation's resources. Dr. Rowley has made the totally irrational decision to decommission the country's sole petroleum refinery, preferring instead to import our much-needed fuels at precisely a time when the country, he says repeatedly, is strapped for foreign exchange. He admitted to his association with the management of an oil business entity that has been accused of defrauding the same Petrotrain of an estimated $100 million, and he has been unilaterally instrumental in quashing, for reasons that are entirely disingenuous and specious, a legal action brought by the last government against the board of Petrotrain. The Petrotrain board was reportedly involved by the request of PNM advisors to spend approximately $6 billion on a useless gas to liquids plant. This ill-informed expenditure has helped bring that state enterprise to its knees. Dr. Rowley's government's decision to decommission the Petrotrin refinery may have implications for the citizens of this country who fervently wish to pursue justice through the application of the rule of law in seeing to it that any alleged fraudulent activity at that refinery that may have been politically inspired is thoroughly investigated. Putting the plant in limbo by even its temporary closure, albeit at a huge additional cost to the taxpayer, may jeopardize the prosecution of justice regarding bringing legal action against the perpetrators of massive white-collar theft. No opportunity whatsoever should be given to those responsible to secret away into oblivion any ill-gotten gain or viable existing evidence. Last week I said Petrotrin is a crime scene. Secure Petrotrin. Petrotrin is a crime scene. The board of directors needs to step down. There needs to be appointed a caretaker for Petrotrin, and an investigation launched into the circumstances and turn of events that leads us to here. This is what Peter Hadid wrote. I share it with you all today, you know. I feel like I'm reading you all to sleep. But I want you to see. Actually, I'll stick a pin. Stick a pin. Pundit Satayan, nothing to celebrate. After 56 years on the independence of Trinidad and Tobago, what have we to celebrate? That we have managed to survive as a nation for yet another year? On the eve of this year's independence, saw women of the nation protesting outside the office of the Prime Minister for offending women and Hindus. That we saw the Prime Minister then apologize for not knowing about Indian and Hindu culture and refusing to acknowledge that any offense was made to women. On the eve of this year's independence, saw the Prime Minister conduct a significant cabinet reshuffle in the dead of the night and then disappear on holiday to Tobago. On the eve of this year's independence, saw the century-old oil industry shaken to the core with the closure of the Petrotrin refinery and the laying off of 2,600 citizens. On the eve of this year's independence, saw the nation asking about the details about a gas deal with the government of Venezuela and a minister of government telling the nation that there is no humanitarian crisis in Venezuela. On the eve of this year's independence, saw the collapse of the century-old sea bridge between Trinidad and Tobago and the untold suffering of Tobagonians with the collapse of their economy. On the eve of this year's independence, saw the giving away of national assets to sandals without any accountability by the government. On the eve of this year's independence, we are facing unparalleled increase in crime and an unrecognizable refugee crisis. What is there to celebrate? Is that we are to celebrate our mere survival and existence as a nation? Are we so mediocre as a nation that we are content to celebrate our survival? Or are we mature enough to face our shortcomings and confront them? As we escape from this year and face down the upcoming year as an independent nation, unfortunately, we cannot expect anything hopeful. There is an expectation that we to face more economic hardships, more unemployment, more taxes, more expensive cost of living, and a more disconnected government. The atmosphere of hopelessness and helplessness is not arrived at easily. As a pundit who has to inspire and console my community, it is, however, important that we do not fool ourselves into believing that all is well in the nation. That is a pundit. I have priests on my Facebook thread, bishops and archbishops. For all the cuss I cuss, all of the religious fraternity, real business leaders and community leaders, not those that have gold chain down by the belly button, are coming to me and asking me, how do we fix this? My answer is the same to everybody. Unravel your racism, remove the cultism, unite the 99%. We have the plans, programs, policies, and ideas to right-size and fix everything. But we cannot do that if we still playing Indian African politics. I want to read the next one. Only after that, only want a music break. I could drink a water break. And those of you who don't know, tomorrow at noon, 19 Stanmore Avenue, we're starting a whole new conversation. I want to find, and you have to give me a minute, and I apologize. Fine. I don't realize why the numbers went so low. You see, I never play a foreign tune on Facebook. Facebook is having trouble with copyright. So I just had to address that. So those of you who are abroad, now you could share the videos, please. Now you could share the video, please. But we're gonna have to, damn it. And we're dealing with it anyway, it'll end up on YouTube and they'll find it there. Coming back to this, I want to read this one to you. And we have 10 more minutes because I really have something to do. Alright. This is what she wrote, Sarah Kalipasad. And I responded to her, and I'll read my response to her. And I'll try and read Peter Hadid's. Share the video and let's see what happens now. We are calling for another election. We're faced with socialist lovers who are super happy with big government. The other hijacked her party's democracy by early internal elections and refused to step down, although she accused the former leader of being there past his time. Like Kamala she talking about. She's surrounding herself with either brown nosers regardless of the time that they cross the fence. She's only making noise at petty minor things because she has cocoa in the sun. Kamala she talking about. She hasn't addressed the property tax, and that's why this blasted bourgeois party, the PNM, is important in its valuations. She's given the man responsible for the worst political campaign ever, Rodney Charles. You all heard me talk about Rodney Charles 4 years ago. Sarah Kalipasad and others have just woken up to the fact. It's like when they woke up to Petrotrin. It's like when they woke up to Malcolm Jones. I am watching them wake up years later when we could have fixed so much. She's given the man responsible for the worst political campaign ever a safe seat in Naparima, while others had to scrape their constituencies at the last minute. She hijacked her party by not having anyone as a viable option actively in the party other than herself. Some are industry experts in their own right. So there's the other alternatives to this visionless, blatantly corrupt, taunting, taxing, Moroccan party that ran us into the ground and hole that they like. Those are the options to our self-serving runaway cabinet. What have our waste of time government taken thus far? Take from you to give themselves and their board-appointed friends. Take from you to give to themselves exemptions and allowances. Take from you to give to themselves land and reimbursements. Take your safe areas and infiltrate it like Chaguanas East. Take your country and give criminals more rights than you. Take your country and give it to the 1%. Not a squeak about the Massey deal again. Take your country and give criminals more freedom so you live in fear as you must feed them. Take your country and hit you bullshit, right? I love the fact that bullshit is becoming pervasive in the national conversation. Right in front of your face because they control the media. How long have I been telling you all that? I'm taking a segue from what she wrote, and coming back to her. This is what Wayne Sturge wrote. The slaves outnumbered the masters. Whips and chains could only go so far and was less effective than mind control. Enter Christianity, but alas, with the advent of free education, the internet and social media, religion is losing its influence, but not fast enough. There was a time not so long ago the church influenced the state political directorate. Now the government's only chance to hold on to political power on behalf of their finances is to control the narrative through ownership of the media worldwide. What do you think that Cambridge Analytica scandal was about? It was an attempt by the governments of both Britain and the US to undermine social media and reclaim territory lost by conventional media owned by their financiers, of course. It was an attempt to make the ordinary guy extremely skeptical of social media and move back in the direction of conventional media. There is a narrative that social media disseminate fake news, and it does, but no more than conventional media. They want to tell you that the facts, tell you what the facts are without question. Locally, we have Papa Doc and Stuart Young trying to control the narrative through a rebranded TTT. Stuart must tell you what the facts are and what the truth is. If now an old man walks into your neighborhood and rapes just one innocent child, he is lynched. If he does the same to 10 kids, you get the picture. But if he's a Catholic priest, he is protected from these evil little liars. That's the power religion still has, and that is the kind of power the political elite wants. Unquestionable authority. If it wasn't for social media, Barack Obama would never have gotten past the Democratic primaries. My message, Wayne Sturge, be vigilant and prepared to wage war in defense of your right to not be mentally enslaved. I am showing you that it is not just me. The nation is awoke and the people are waking up and fanning the flames of knowledge. And you have a job to do. You have a job to do. You have a role to play. You have a role to play. But this is Sarah Kali Prasad continue. But all like big government, and who's benefiting? Only the extremely wealthy, those in control, and the extremely lazy, unambitious social parasites, not the working class. This country will continue its downward spiral if citizens keep putting party before economy, acting as if their neighbor string is buried in political parties. How long have I been telling this nation that? Remember Panama Papers? Maybe not. Due to big boys on both sides having cocoa in the sun. Just now, or they're sharing so much on my wall, I can't see my wall. This country will not get out of its dangerous deadlock unless an international body steps in after investigation and prosecute those found to be corrupt. However, we know things don't work like that. They might die, be sanitized, and keep the stolen billions. The reason why this will never happen? People enjoy cutthroat once it's their party doing it. They love politicians more than themselves and will only go after the opposite. Also, there's no public confidence in TTPS, our judicial system, and by our non-functional head of state that's there only as a liability. We cannot count on tourism due to crime destroying our country, all recreational areas, religious sites, as well as limiting nightlife. Our culture is beautiful because of its various subcultures. However, that beauty is depleting because there are many that don't appreciate diversity. She goes on and on and on. It's a very long thing that she wrote. And I had to respond to her. Because I'm responding to these people now and I'm telling them, I'm trying to explain to them. And I told her, how do you speak like me, think like me, have the same passions for a better country and still justify sitting on the sidelines when you could help make a difference? What, you have such little faith in the power of thinking people to arrive at consensus? Do you think this much bitching is doing anything for anybody? If you get 10 likes, you get plenty. When I wrote that, she put up the post 4 hours ago. I wrote what I am reading to you 2 hours ago. She has 6 likes. If you get 10 likes, you get plenty, because that's how few of us there are who will read all of this like I did. You want a better country? You're going to have to do much more than criticize others and sit on your ass and moan. No, I am not perfect, and I'm damn sure there are people who are better at leadership than I am, but I cannot seem to find one willing to put themselves at the risks that I have, or to lose out to the political victimization that I have. How many of these are you going to write? I stopped counting my blog when I crossed 1 million words. Do they help? Like pissing your pants in a dark suit. You get a warm feeling, but nobody notices. You want a better country? Then come join the conversation, damn it. Because we are outnumbered by all the charlatans and stunt artists you named. And the fact that there are so few of us to be holding our corner, pelting small stones from our sides, when we could be leveraging collectively, is so damn foolish, it should have been included in your rant. I am a fucking patriot living in a shithole, giving up my pleasure and peace of mind to help people who don't or won't care overcome issues that for the most part do not affect me. I get all the benefits of the upper class. I will never have to put up with the general hospital, and I have water generally when I want it. So why do I do this? Because this is my country and I want it to be better. What is your excuse for still not seeing your obvious talents and bringing them to be put to good use? Maybe we win, maybe we won't, but collectively we can damn well have a better try. We meet this Saturday. Why not come 19 Stanmore Avenue at noon and see if there are kindred spirits around to lighten your load and share the burden? Otherwise, we could all just continue to bitch and moan while the fat rats keep making off with the cheese. 6 likes. I predict 10. And I shared Peter Hardy. But you know what? I think I've read enough. I've shown enough. I've said enough. We've been talking this. We've been talking. I've been ringing alarm bells. We, the Progressive Empowerment Party, and all the people involved in that party have been working so hard. This Saturday at noon, come and see how many of your brothers and sisters are standing up and need your help, need your live body, need your voice, need your support, need your financial support. If you have no money, come and wash wares, bake cake, help, put out chairs. Just come and be there. We need to stand up. Your vote is important. It is only by this democratic, lawful response can we hope to ever get this country back to where it's supposed to go? We are meeting tomorrow at noon. Make sure you come. I want the people who agree and the people who disagree. And if you disagree with me, don't just come and attack me personally with the ad hominem bullshit. Challenge me on policy, on fact, on history. Let's have a real, frank and honest conversation and look towards how could we, all of us, every creed and race, get together, stand as 99% of people under one flag. Yeah? Let me try that now. Sorry, buddy. Morning, I light up the Point Lisa's fire and I asked, why are the fire trucks standing there with hoses in their hands and nothing being done? Somebody tell me they're waiting on the foam truck. I said the water truck reach and the foam truck can reach. This is not a real country. Somebody else say no, they're waiting for them to turn off the power. The fire truck reach and you can't turn off the power? Oh, let me stay with that bullshit now.
When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the time is now, then change should come about. Just as how you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. If they can see, vote them out. State your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy, vote them out. Vote them out with total skull and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again. Put them out of power, dominate your reign. Let's put our country together again. If for 30 years you voting them in, and there's only chance as soon as they win, they give you big words and enslave your souls, promising you roads and giving back votes. If they are the reason why the economy won't sprout, when you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is the passing laws that them alone can flout, when you're voting, vote them out, vote them out. If it is the building eyesores, east, west, north and south, the same way you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. Totally, vote them out. State your finger and vote them out. Rescue the country, vote them out. Vote them out with tempo, they happy in vain. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out with calypso and joyous refrain. Let's put our country together again.
Let's bring it to a close because we have a lot of work to do tomorrow and tomorrow is important. And listen, To all my Trinidadians, all of you who find in your voices, listen, find your way to Stanmore Avenue. Trust me when I tell you, standing alone not helping you. All the little silos, all of us, you'll get your likes, you'll get your shares, you'll get your oohs and your ahs. It's doing nothing for nobody. It'll give you a little serotonin, a little dopamine, you'll get a little feel good in your blood, but you're accomplishing nothing. So let us literally come together as one people. Tomorrow at noon, come and sit down. You'll be treated like royalty. All the people who come through those doors are treated like royalty. Come to Stanmore Avenue. Again, the purpose of this is for a better country. Not because none of us run a long walk. Not because none of us want to go and argue with jackasses like Rowley in Parliament. We literally want to save this nation. If you want to give us the political authority of state to right-size Trinidad and Tobago, I tell you this, and you could tell everybody this, those who have committed white-collar crime will be my focus. The money that they have stolen from this country's treasury will be our purpose. Put us in government, we will fix everything. If you feel that they are office holders that are there for life, I will show you how wrong that is. If you think that people who got Caroni lands to use to build mall is mall forever, I will show you how wrong that is. This is a state where the people have rights, but those rights have been trampled by those who control the enforcement of law. Right now, fix that. Vote better. Vote yourself real servants, real saviors, real people with the belly, balls, and backbone. When I talk with all my given names. No fake profile, no beating around the bush. It is time that we got together. Come and stand up. Come and stand together. Bring your voice. God, Christopher, Stefan Rees, come. Stefan, you ain't there for long, you know. You see that itch that you can't scratch? It's only a matter of time before Brian Haynes get the message. Fire Stefan ass. I'm telling you. Hold on to the work for as long as you could. But come and stand with us. All of you, Peter Hadid, Sarah Kalipasan, anybody, Gavin, Nicholas, past Satanyan, what was his name? Satayanan, the pundit. Come down, everybody, come down. Let us unite the people. Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Orisha, Baptist, come down. Black, white, red, green, every shade in between, come down. 99% of us are suffering in this waste of time, broken banana republic, failed nation, third world shithole cesspool. It is time to fix it. It is time to undo and redo 56 years of PNM political bad mind and spite. Tomorrow, 19 Stanmore Avenue. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.